Hello everyone! Welcome back to another 1v1 Warhammer battle. This time I am bringing the Beastmen and we are facing off against the Dwarves for this one. My idea and strategy is pretty simple. Just overwhelm the Dwarves in numbers and try to surround them as quick as we can. So with that, we have 6 Ungor Spearmen that are flanking a Bestigor horde in the middle with a group of Minotaurs behind them, the 2 Gorbals, and being led by Malagor the Dark Omen. The spells are brought from Malagor. We have the Summon, the Cygor spell, we have Vile Tide, and then the Mantle of Garok, which I've been experimenting with, and I kind of like the spell. But the idea of bringing the Vile Tide isn't necessarily for the damage, but the thing is, Malagor has this Bestial Surge, which as long as they're casting, every single unit that they have, their allies are going to get an increase in speed and vigor. So with the spammable spell, and spammable 25 seconds is kind of spammable in this game, because cooldown is usually pretty long, we're guaranteed that we're hitting all of our troops with that 10% vigor, so we're trying to keep them basically fresh and try to vigor the Dwarves, which may be possible in this matchup just because they didn't bring the Grumbling Guard at all. But anyway, so that's why I try to bring Vile Tide. On the flank here, we have 3 Razorgor herds, which are a very potentially dangerous unit for Dwarves. They have a 40 armor-piercing damage value, and on the charge, they have a 70 melee attack on the charge. So you got to make sure you try and cycle these things out every like 15-ish seconds to make use of the very, very high damage potential that they have. And in the back, you have 2 Ungor herds that are in the Stalk and Vanguard deployment because I didn't think that they would expect them. And they are here to try and overwhelm the backside of the Dwarf line in hopes of grabbing their artillery or their Quarrelers or Rangers or whatever was back here. So for their army, they have a Brimstone gun gyrocopter flying up to meet our army. I think they're going to shoot at our group of Minotaurs. And here, holding the front line is going to be 6 Dwarven warriors, 4 or 5 right here, and then the 6th one is right here. They are backed up by 2 Longbeards, a Thane each on the flank here and here. They are being led by the High King himself, Thorgrim Grudgebearer, and his trusty Runesmith. They do have 1 cannon, 2 normal Quarrelers, a group of Slayers, and the, yeah, right, that's the Dwarf Warrior. Now, there's no units of renown, and I don't know, maybe this player doesn't have that DLC because this is a pre-DLC army right here, which it still works. It's totally fine. But the thing is, you know, you just usually see the warriors of the Dragonback Slayers or whatever. But anyway, let's press play. So there's really not much I can do here. I could have brought Ungor Raiders. You can usually expect at least 1 gyrocopter when you're fighting against Dwarves as the Beastmen, just because it's hard for Beastmen to deal with it. But I'm like, we'll just take the hit. So they're going to try and nail our Minotaurs. And the idea here is, or what it was, is that I was going to summon the Cygor back here, and I was going to have it throw, move up, all the way up until it gets into melee, because it does have fear, terror, and it is a decent melee combatant, especially against Dwarves with this high armor piercing. Unfortunately, I forget to actually summon the Cygor until we get around, like, this area. It'll still get, like, a throw or 2 off, but, it was supposed to be summoned back here. But anyway, the idea with the Bestigors and the Minotaurs right behind, including the Gorbals, is to punch through the Dwarf center as quick as possible, overwhelm their backside with the 3 Razorgor herds and the 2 Ungor herds, and basically just break this very hard defensive line, because clearly they want to hold me at the front and allow their Quarrelers and their cannon to do all the damage to my elite units, which would be the Bestigors, the Gorbals, and the Minotaurs. There is our Cygor that is just now summoned, and he's starting to throw his rocks. He got a decent hit on these Dwarf Warriors. Our Ungor herds are coming into a decent range here. They are pretty fast, and then our Razorgor herds are coming around as well. And again, we're going to try and overwhelm them with the Razorgors here, here, and here. And then I love using these tools. And we're going to get the Ungor herd right up here, right up in the middle. They're going to go for a touchdown right here, right around Thorgrim. Anyway, sorry. So anyway, we're about to charge the Dwarven lines, and we were being hit by the miners with blasting charges that I put in the middle. There goes the Vile Tide spell, the first of many. And you can see that our Minotaurs and our Bestigors are going to just get right through these miners that were holding the middle of the line, allowing my Gore herds, or my Gorbals, both of them to get onto Thorgrim Grudgebearer at the very beginning. My Cygor is going to be slowly moved up into this fight. The cannon, I think, is firing at my Cygor, a good target, and is also being targeted by the Brimstone guns as well. My Razorgor herds are coming in to support our front line here, getting flanks on the Dwarven warriors on the left and the right. They're going to get a charge on the Slayers as well, who do not have charge defense against large creatures, I don't believe. No, I don't believe. The renowned ones do. And then I'm also going to support them with an Ungor Spearman, and we're also going to get these 2 Ungor herds. There goes another Vile Tide spell over here, again, to try and make sure that the vigor of all of our units is going to be at top notch. The front line of our Ungor herds are starting to dwindle or buckle under the weight of the Thanes and the Dwarven warriors. But that is okay. They are not there to really get kills. That's left for our Minotaurs, the Bestigors, and everything else. So anyway, the Gorbals have almost dealt with these miners and are still dealing with the Thorgrim Grudgebearer. They are being pelted by, I believe, just miners, I think. I don't think they're getting hit by anything else. The Cygor has pierced the front lines as well, and is now into the Dwarven Quarrelers over here. So we have shut down their melee. There goes another Vile Tide, which again is buffing our unit's speed and their vigor. Trying to do cycle charges out here with the Razorgor. These Razorgor are going to go around and hit into the backside of these Longbeards. These Razorgor are going straight up the middle into these Cannon and the Quarrelers. Gorbulls are still on Thorgrim Grudgebearer, who is now trying to run out of this Dwarven formation because we're chasing it, but he's running into Razorgor Herd because I have their entire army surrounded. We just have the numbers. The strategy of surrounding them is working so far, although our front line is kind of now gone, but that's okay because now we're in the middle of the formation, which is where the Dwarven warriors do not want us to be. We have Razorgor herds everywhere, cycle charging out again. The 2 Gorbulls have just about destroyed Thorgrim Grudgebearer. Malagor is just over here, not really doing much other than casting Vile Tide spells. Cygor has chased off those one group of Quarrelers and is now assisting, I think, against the Cannons, I think is what he's firing at. I'm not entirely sure. Bestigors is still dealing with the front line of, I think, Longbeards. Longbeards being held up together by the Runesmith's defensive buffs. There we go, Thorgrim Grudgebearer, the High King is dead, and that is going to be the end of the game. I know this is a very short one, but I don't show the Beastmen that much love, mostly just because I think they're, not because they're bad, but because I usually think that they're boring. And then I was just sitting there thinking of armies, and I'm like, well, you know what, let me bring the Razorgors. Like, I don't see Razorgors ever, so I was like, you know what, let's do this. And the Razorgors did their job pretty well. They came in from the back. One group of Slayers was not able to stop them all, especially when I backed them up with the 2 Ungor herds that had Vanguard deployed. And, of course, the Ungor Spearmen, I had them flanking around the entire position here, and just that total surround and getting into the squishy backside. Let's see, Malagor wasn't really in combat for too long. The Gorbulls were after Thorgrim Grudgebearer, so they did really well. The ones that I was looking for to get kills is basically everything down here, and they did really well. The Ungor herd got into the Quarrelers, got into the Slayers, and did pretty well, backing up the Razorgor herds, who also got a ton of kills. Bestigors just chewed through a lot of Dwarven armor, so they did really well. Minotaurs, 70 kills. 70. So huge. So yeah, everything that I wanted to do damage did damage. We had the strategy of punching through the middle of the Dwarven formation with the Bestigors and the Minotaurs. That was the idea. That's why I stacked them up in the middle. And as soon as we busted through the middle, the Gorbulls went through, the Minotaurs went through into the squishy Quarrelers and the Cannon crew, and then we just slammed into the back of them with the 3 Razorgor herds backed up by the 2 Vanguard deployed Ungor herds. I basically brought these just for numbers. I didn't expect them to do too much damage to Dwarven armor, but in this case, we did have them fighting against the Slayers, and against Slayers, they can do pretty well, especially when they're intermixed with just every other unit. It was a cluster in the middle there towards the end of the Dwarven formation. For the Dwarves, though, the front line of Dwarven warriors got a lot of kills against our Ungor Spearmen. That is to be expected. These Spearmen are basically just there to keep the Dwarven warriors busy and allow our more elite units to go in and actually do the damage. Like the Gorbulls are always on hero hunting duty. You always have these guys hunting heroes if they can. And you start from the top. You kill their lord, and then you kill their next important hero, which would have been the Runesmith, and you go just down the line. That's what the Gorbulls are there for. But yeah, so the Dwarven warriors did really well killing our Ungor Spearmen. The Longbeards held off our Bestigors for a long time. The Slayers got 71 kills against our Ungor herd and Razorgor herds as well. Quarrelers, I kind of stopped pretty quickly before they could get too crazy in the kills. Cannon got 4 kills, but did do a lot of damage to our Cygor, so good job there. And 32 kills in the Gyrocopter with Brimstone Gun is not bad. I thought it was shooting my Minotaurs and Cygor through most of that, but I guess it was shooting into maybe some Ungors that I missed. Not entirely sure. But anyway, good game again to my opponent Domo. Let's take a look at the cinematic view. Gyrocopters are very annoying for the Beastmen, but Beastmen are very fast, so they can usually close the distance pretty quickly, and as long as there's only one of the Gyrocopter units out there, you can usually just kind of ignore it. Just run, make a sprint as fast as you can, and crush the Dwarven army before the Gyrocopters can really rack up a lot of damage. So that's what we were doing here. I guess we can actually kind of fast forward a little bit. And again, it sucks that I forgot the Cygor summon. It was supposed to be way back here, but it's fine. Like way at the beginning. This is a very pretty formation, by the way. I really like the look of this formation. A really nice looking Dwarven formation. Having the miners hold the center, though, was a potential mistake, seeing at what I had coming at them up the center. But hey, I'm not going to complain about it because it worked out for me. Minotaur's going to get right through that. Gorbulls are going to go right through it as well. Here come like, look how big these things are. Like, you don't really know how big they are until you get into the ground, but they are huge. These things are really big. And they have these cool little tails, too. And here come the Ungor herds to back up the Razorgors. Oh god, your arms are gone. This is what you gotta do sometimes. You just gotta overwhelm the dwarves with numbers to get into their squishy bits. These cannons, the correlers, their heroes. Not exactly squishy, but important targets to take out. A lot of dwarf tossing with this battle with all these minotaurs. Wild Tide spell going down. It does do some damage even to the dwarves with their magic resistance, but again, the main part of that is a spammable spell that I can increase the vigor of all of our units. Probably not the best use of your Winds of Magic, though, if you're just trying to buff up the vigor by 10% every time or whatever, but it's a fun thing for me to do. I like the synergy. Look at these cute little creatures, little Razorgors. Poor High King trying to run for his life, going right into herds of Razorgors. Yeah, don't be afraid to throw your Cygors into melee combat. They are pretty good in melee. And there goes the High King. Farewell, High King. You did your best. Listen, not many things can stop Gorbals. It's really difficult. Especially two of them. They just do so much damage. They're so mobile. They are the best unit that the Beastmen have. If you're looking for ways for me to let you know how to stop them as dwarves, that's a great question. Try to whittle them down with 2 rangers with great weapons is a very good thing. So having this front line is a good idea. Don't have the miners hold the middle though, just because they're super weak and easy to run through, like you saw what happened there. But against the Beastman army, you know Gorbals are coming. So as a dwarf, I would honestly always suggest try to grab 2 rangers with great weapons if you can. Their throwing axes do so much damage, especially if you focus them down on 1 Gorbal at a time. And if you can hold the Gorbals for just a few moments, allow them to throw a couple axes and protect your backside with like Slayers or just stack of miners back there. Just keep them safe for a little while. They can focus a Gorbal down like that. It's super quick. Same thing with the Ragnaroks. The Rangers with great weapons, I think, is one of the best additions to the Dwarven arsenal with that last upgrade. So yeah, the Rangers with great weapons. The armor piercing damage is just insane. 26 over 7.2 seconds. If you just keep them safe for just a little while, they can focus down the Gorbals. So this is like the standard core of my armies I bring against Beastmen, because Gorbals are going to be there. There's going to at least be 2 of them. Grombrindle can definitely hold his own. I use 2 Thanes. You can use the two Runesmiths, which may be more like tournament worthy. This is probably the stronger build because the 2 Runesmiths can hit other units with the Runes of Wrath and Ruin, which definitely stack up over the course of a battle. Like, it's no joke. And of course their defensive buffs are insane. The Forge Fire is also good to have on just one of them. You don't need it on both. But screw that. I like the Thanes because not many people use them, although my opponent did, so good on you, because I don't see Thanes too often. I only see like spamming of Runesmiths. But yeah, so Thanes, Grombrindle and his bodyguards, and then these 2 guys. And usually the enemies are going to try and target Grombrindle because that's what you do with Gorbals. You target the hero, and since he can hold his own and have these 2 guys as bodyguards, it gives you more time to focus down with the Rangers' great weapons. And that's my suggestion if you bring dwarves against the Beastmen. Feel free to leave your suggestions below on what you do to counter the Gorbals. You can also maybe spam out like Gyrocopters, but I don't find that to be particularly useful for me anyway. But maybe it'll be useful for you. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the battle. I know it was a short one, but I don't really play Beastmen often, so I wanted to put this one out here because I don't. When was my last Beastman? That must have been like 10 episodes ago or so, you know. I try to cycle through as much as I can, you know, 1 Empire, 1 Dwarf, 1 Greenskin, so on and so forth, as best I can. But yeah, anyway, again, feel free to let me know how you deal with the Gorbals as dwarves, or as any army, really, because they're annoying, and you definitely need strategies against them. Have a good day, everybody. Take care.